Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Dr. Richard Lapchick, thanks for being with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Civil rights icon, Dr. Edwards, how are you today?
I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I deserve, I'll tell you that.
Sports commentator, Scoop Jackson.
Good to be back on with you all.
Ian Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
It's R&R on Sports.
R&R on Sports. R&R on Sports. R&R on R&R.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I am the fantastic one, Larry Robinson. What's up, America?
All right. That was smooth,
Yeah,
man.
that was smooth. I'm trying to make it smooth.
Kudos to you. Let
Thank
me congratulate you on a nice for a change introduction.
Really?
Yes.
You thought it was better?
I knew it was better.
Really?
I know
See,
it was
I
better.
kind of like the older way of doing it, you know, where we give
Don't
each
go
other
back there.
about
Don't go
7
there.
or 8
Don't
different
get-
adjectives
don't-
that truly really just display my greatness all to the world for the world to see.
What's going on? How you doing?
Man, everything's wonderful, man. But you know, I'm sitting back thinking about this draft, and you know, I think Chet Holmgren might be the most urbanized Caucasian kid. I don't think America was ready for the white kid with the big roll of dice diamonds on his neck and all. I just think, you know, and then he has so much swagger. My man has so much swag. He was like, it's it's all good. You know, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and so we got to do it like that, baby.
Jay Will too.
I mean, he was. Oh yeah, man. He was seriously Jay Will too. So and then you had Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
Lord, could you give him a box? He need a Kleenex.
I thought he had gone to Revival or something.
He need a Kleenex sponsorship.
I thought he had found spiritual enlightenment.
They need to endorse.
Oh,
Kleenex.
he was all broke up.
Man, he was broke up.
He was
for
all broke
real,
up.
man. If hard work and perseverance was a person, homeboy.
Bro, who died?
I'm like,
Who
come
died? Who
on,
gone?
dude. I'm like, yeah.
Who gone, man?
Everybody up there composed but him. I'm like, and I mean, his mama handing them like the napkins. Then they just brought a whole box of Kleenex. Say, here, bro.
Your mama got to console you with something crazy wrong. Oh my goodness! But brother was happy. Hey, I would be.
He remind me of Kevin Durant. Mom, you the real MVP.
We're gonna talk about him a little later. But congrats to all.
Absolutely.
of
Number one, Paolo Banchero. Now
draft.
that is a suit that somebody need their ass beat. Somebody need to be.
You need to be very careful. You need to be very careful because we have interviewed, I believe. Now, I don't know this as a fact, but I think we have interviewed his tailor.
Wait a minute, CJ?
Yes.
CJ made that suit?
I think that was CJ's suit.
Listen, we going to have see if we can
I
get
believe
CJ on the
that
phone.
was CJ's
See
suit.
if we can get CJ on the phone because I got some words.
You got some words for him.
I got some words for with all them little shingalingy, all that little shingalingy stuff.
Speaking of suits, you're going to fold like a cheap one with CJ on the line. You ain't going to talk about the man's
watch me. Dare me. Dare me, hot damn it. I'm telling you, I'm going to talk about, I'm like, you sitting up here damn near 7 feet tall with all these little shingalingers and silver balls and carrying on.
I thought like dingle balls.
See, you know what I think? I think he was doing, you know how they had those balls for when you're doing the NBA 2K thing and you in the studio and they got the little traction balls? I think he had a whole lot of traction balls. I think they're doing something new for
Wasn't there
NBA
something special
2K.
about the material too? Didn't it look like space?
It was like some neoprene type stuff that stretched all over.
Do they make suits out of that? They do.
They do now. Well, you know, shout out to our boy Rich Fresh. You know, he's been the NBA. He really brought to them a lot of the neoprene stuff with his brand, Rich Fresh.
I wonder how much your brother pays for a suit like that.
I'd venture to say it was probably about 5-6 G's, if not more. I'd venture to say if not more.
Wonder if CJ will tell us how much it was.
We got to get him back.
All right.
Jeremy, get CJ back.
All right.
And listen, we got a fantastic show today. So listen, check us out. Stay where you are. Check out this laugh. We'll be right back with R&R on Sports.
Yo, this your boy Chris Brown.
David West of the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq Adocious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
And you're listening to a little R&R.
R&R on Sports.
Blues in the Basement.
Hello.
And the lyrics of the blues songs, like Bobby Rush, can sometimes be a little risque. We just got the music on.
Blues.
Instrumentals.
Loving it.
I don't care if you're young or old.
Blues in the Basement.
Get together, let the good time roll.
Part of the Kazookian Network.
Thanks for calling the 3 Wishes hotline, where your wish is our command. Get 3 wishes for only $3,000. This is Gina speaking, and what are your wishes today?
Yo, what up? I need to get 3 wishes granted.
That's what I'm here for, man. Get 3 in the can for only $3,000.
I wish the Denver Broncos practice squad hadn't got paid before Super Bowl week, because then, I wouldn't have that little situation I had and stuff. I wish that girl hadn't have been so damn fine. She had that Serena body. It was like, pow, pow. I wish I still got my Super Bowl ring, so I can show my boys and stuff back at the crib.
Oh, you no get no sue from Peyton. All right, I scratch out payday like it never happened. That girl is now skinny, ugly, with bad skin and breath, and you'll get a Super Bowl ring. Now, it might be from Super Bowl 5 instead of 50, but it beats nothing. That'll be 3Gs. Now, what's the name on your credit card?
I ain't got no credit card yet, but the name on my EBT card is Ryan, R. Murphy.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Thanks for calling the 3 Wishes hotline, where your wishes are command. Get 3 wishes for only $3,000. This is Ginny speaking, and what are your wishes today?
Shalom. I want my 3 wishes granted immediately.
Well, all right, mister. Have no fears. Your wishes are granted when your payment clears.
They better be. Number 1, I want the Cleveland Cavaliers. I wish they'd lose every game from now on.
To the end of the season?
Hell no. Forever. Number 2, I wish that little scraggly hair on LeBron's head to fall out all over the floor, even the implants. I want him to go through his life ball as a cue ball so everybody can see that lopsided head he's been trying to hide. And number 3, I wish all the players and everybody in the Cavs front office would immediately experience severe male member shrinkage.
Oh, my severe?
Damn right.
Oh, we talking small?
Tiny.
Like Pee-wee jockstrap?
Nah, like a Band-Aid.
All right, the Cavs is going 0 and forever. LeBron hair is out. Shrinkage is underway. That'll be 3Gs. Now, what's the name on your credit card?
It's D. Blatt.
Okay, Mr. B. Fat.
I said D. Blatt. D-B-L-A-T-T. You dumb.
Oh, all right, Mr. Blatt. I'm so sorry. Your payment has been processed. Wishes have been granted. And now I need you to do me one more thing.
What is it?
Unzip your pants and have a squint. But let me tell you this little hint. The next time you try to please her, you're going to need a magnifying glass and some tweezers.
Oh, God, where did it go?
Who's the bitch now, Blatt?
Riffin' on jazz.
So all the artists today must be ladies.
Must be.
Oh, my favorite.
You got a problem?
No, that's my favorite.
See, I knew.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kazookian Network.
Kazookian. Welcome back to more R&R on Sports. Yes, and there was a wolf in my headset, man.
I know.
It was not my imagination.
Well, shoot, we can put a gerbil in your headset or something if you need.
No, I don't need that. I don't need that. So, again, congratulations to all of the newly minted millionaires.
And
multimillionaires signed recently into the NBA.
Think about this for a second. These 4 to 5 young men. Okay. You got Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, and then Jabari Smith.
Right.
And you skip down to Jaden Ivey. But Jaden Ivey was crying. And you got to think about this for a second. This dude's life is changed forever.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids like Paolo Bencher. I mean, these dudes are making like 10, 12, $14 million a year at 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're literally, their lives are changed forever. Then I was looking at some of the contracts that's being signed. Devin Booker, Jokic, Jokic.
How about Ja Morant?
Well, Jokic, but but Zion literally getting paid, and he ain't played but about 30 games. And then but yeah, Ja Morant got paid, but Nikola Jokic is making $275 million
over how many years?
Over 5 years, bruh.
Wow.
I mean, think about that for a second.
275.
275
over 5.
Over 5 years. Mm-hmm. You're literally over 50 million, and this cat is hitting the lottery every year for the next 5 years. And then you talk about him, but then you flip it on the other side, and you look at the numbers that the NFL players are getting, like Lamar Jackson. They're talking about this kid gonna make $65 million a year. I mean that is, unfathomable, the amount of money these young men are making today.
Well, again, as I have heard you often point out to your sons particularly, that speaks very, very highly, obviously, of the people who are making the money. It speaks even higher of the money that's being made and the owners that can pay somebody.
That's very true.
That can, one player.
One player.
I can pay you 200 and something, 70. You said 275 million over the next 5 years.
Check this out.
And
The
it's
bus.
only you.
The
I
bus.
gotta pay
The buses. Just check. Jenny Buss. She got LeBron James at like 45, 46. You got Anthony Davis at like 35, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And then you got
$80
Russell.
million.
And then you got Russell Westbrook at 47.
Okay.
I mean, what in the world? 3 players?
That's 120 something.
In the first 10 minutes of free agency, they spent over a couple $1 billion.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying, wait a minute now. Good gracious alive, man.
Absolutely.
What a beautiful time to be alive. And shout out to Ja Morant. I mean, Ja Morant, he brought home the bag. He got the 193, and I'm feeling him. I'm hoping he makes a tremendous impact in Memphis.
And he lives in Memphis.
And he's going to live.
Let me tell y'all, that goes a long way in Memphis. A long way.
So, mess around, Ja Morant might have a castle on Union or something.
By the bridge.
Well, listen, man, we talking
Arkansas Bridge.
Now we talking about diversity of income that these brothers have obtained on that beautiful day called the NBA draft.
Yeah, but you got to be there to enjoy it.
And it's a lot of work.
In the house.
It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. So them boys deserve every penny.
Absolutely.
But I want to flip it over to this NHL issue.
Mm-hmm.
NHL hires the first African American GM in league history.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL, just as NASCAR, have been very intentional about addressing its issues around race and diversity.
And you have to be. And if you want to see what it looks like when you aren't intentional, simply look at the NFL. If you want to see what it looks like when you are not serious about diversity at the highest levels of the game, simply look at the NFL.
This is atrocious.
The NHL, what percentage of the NHL fan base do you think is African American?
I would say less than 5%. I would say less than 5%.
I would say that you would be right.
Yeah, I'd say less than 5%.
Probably less than 3%.
But yet and still, they found it necessary to add an African American in their leadership ranks. But what's even more amazing about this young man?
Let's talk. Wait a minute. Let's not just talk about one. Let's talk about him in a bit of an entirety. Okay. Mike Grier became the first black general manager in league history, being hired by the San Jose Sharks. Jessica Campbell.
Hold on, wait a minute. Before you go further, Mike Greer, check this out. Same household. His brother, Chris Greer, is the general manager of the Miami Dolphins.
Whoa!
So really? I mean, out of the same household, same kitchen table, eating bowls of cereal, you got two general managers of major sports franchise in America.
Absolutely.
I want to know what they was eating.
Absolutely.
I want to know what Miss Greer. What was that breakfast like? I want to know what the breakfast was like because I'm feeding my kids right now.
Probably putting salt and pepper in each other's cereal. Did y'all ever do that? Did you ever do it? You
I did.
do
No,
that?
I did switch the sugar out.
Oh, man.
I switched the sugar out with some salt.
That's fun.
Oh, man, that was good fun. That was good fun when they realized that they Cheerios
they
wasn't so sweet.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Jessica Campbell became the first woman behind the bench in the AHL or NHL when she was named assistant coach of the Coachella Valley Firebirds.
I thought Coachella was a concert.
It is. It is.
What the hell is Coachella Valley?
Oh man! First woman to
and the Seattle Kraken. Wait, this team? Who this team, Harpo? Who this team? Who this team, Harpo? That's what we asking Jeremy.
So they are very, very intentional about becoming more diverse in the NHL.
Yeah.
Again, unlike you want to see somebody that's not serious, it's the NFL. I mean, I hate that, man.
Man, and you find out that Demarius Smith, young man, ended up with stage 2 CTE when he ended up passing away. Demarius Thomas, Thomas, which I just once again, man, these dudes are taking their lives in their hand every time they step out on the football field and not being compensated, don't have guaranteed contracts, don't have black representation in front office positions. I just find it atrocious, man, and I just find it really difficult to support.
There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do across all professional sports, but there's particularly a lot of work to do in the NFL.
Let me ask you real quick. How would you handle the situation in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving?
I don't know.
But we knew that was going to be.
I go in with a big old vacuum cleaner, super suction, and
one of them big Dyson
broom.
the big highest
man.
I mean, but I truly can't imagine what person felt that putting Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving on the same team, and then add the extra added benefit of throwing a James Harden in there.
Didn't it occur to somebody that there's not a leader in the bunch? They are all
of them are veterans.
All supporting.
All of them are veterans in the league. No, but hold on. All of them are veterans, got long track records of not being leaders.
Not being leaders.
So you just going to throw them in together and expect what? That they was going to come out? And then you're going to put a first-year coach in there with Steve Nash? Come on, man.
The word is evidently.
Joe Tsai need to be looking for some new leadership. Sean Marks, I don't know what the hell you was smoking. Well, he probably was smoking with Kevin.
Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see. A mess in Brooklyn. Let's see what's going to happen. We have a fantastic show. You got to check out us on R&R on Sports to hear some folk that you don't hear from. And we've got one of the greatest shooters in NBA.
Greatest of all time.
Of all time. You're talking about a GOAT.
Of all time.
This cat can flat shoot. Look it up. I mean, do your homework, do your research. His name is Craig Hodges. We got him here on R&R on Sports right after this.
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Avery Sunshine, I am just overjoyed to spend some time with you.
Listen, what you know about pot liquor? You from Memphis, so you know.
My favorite part of all of that, I'm like, don't throw that away.
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. And yeah, that's your contribution. Right?
Every show.
I hope our guest is flattered. I hope he is flattered because that's your contribution. That's all you can do. You turn his mic off, Jeremy. That's all he's going to contribute. We are thrilled to have the best guests on in sports radio, including and particularly this young man, former NBA great brother, Craig Hodges. Welcome to R&R on Sports.
Brother, first of all, I just want to appreciate you and appreciate y'all for the invite, and, thank the creator for giving us an opportunity to chop it up and, put some information out there, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you.
One of the greatest, I will say this, one of the greatest shooters of all times in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
So Craig, give us a little cliff notes for those that don't know your backstory. If you can give us a little cliff notes, where you're from, where you're raised, and where you play ball, and so on and so forth.
Right. I was born and raised in Chicago Heights, Illinois. My family moved to Park Forest my sophomore year in high school. So a lot of people know me from Rich East as far as, I played at Rich East. I was all-stater there with, the class that we were in with Mark Aguirre, Teddy Grubbs, Isaiah, Glenn Rivers. I tell people that 1978 all-state team, I would almost compare it to, or competed with any team that's ever played across the country as far as, the people that came out of that class. And then I was blessed with Tex Winter, who was recruiting me for Northwestern. He got the job at Long Beach State spring of my senior year, and he took me to California with him. And Long Beach was a 4-year proving ground, man. And I was able to get my feet wet in social activism, and as far as learning under some of the best minds in America in the Black Studies department, and having a great balance of the student athletic experience at Long Beach. And it gave me an opportunity, to hone my skills under probably one of the greatest mentors in basketball. We talk about what Tex was able to do after college with coupling up with Phil Jackson, and, to be blessed to come back home after 6 years in the NBA. I got drafted by the Clippers in 1982. I was the 48th player picked. And it was a blessing, man, to be able to come home after playing in Milwaukee and getting playoff experience, and then coming home to Chicago, not as a rookie, not as a second or third year player, but as a playoff season veteran. And to be able to be part of the first championship in Chicago. I tell people you can't get 6 without getting that first one. So, for me, that first one was probably the most special of them all, man.
Being that you're a hometown guy, I imagine that was a huge thing for the Hodges family.
Oh man, it was, and it's one of those things where when I was growing up, my granddad gave me, Lord bless his soul, he gave me a catcher. He gave me all the equipment to be a catcher. When I was 6 years, on my 6th birthday. And he told me the quickest way to the big show or to be a professional was to be a catcher at that time, because that's the way racism was at that point in our history. That was the ticket as far as getting me in a mindset as a 6-year-old that I was going to be a professional. Now, my uncle at the time, his son, Bruce Hodges Jr., was one of the top basketball players in the country in junior college. So I was getting baseball and basketball, steady diet, along with the educators in my family. So it was a student athleticism type thing from birth for me. So when I had a chance to go to school, it wasn't anything as far as a panic situation, because it was something that I felt like I had been groomed for. Now it's just a matter of being disciplined about it.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with NBA great Craig Hodges. Craig, you played under Tex Winter at what was it, San Diego State?
Long Beach
State. I'm sorry.
Hey man, don't get it twisted. But the cool part about that Freudian slip is that my high school coach was Steve Fisher.
Right. Oh, wow.
So he coached the Fab Five, and then he left Michigan and went to San Diego
State. Right.
He coached Kawhi Leonard.
Right. Wow. Yeah. So being that you were with Tex Winter, was Tex teaching the triangle offense at that point?
Brother, that's all he knows. And to this day, it's a blessing for me. The first day of practice at Long Beach State in 1982, he told us, forget everything you know about basketball. And
wow.
Because believe this, anything that you know about basketball, I've forgotten that much.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
It was a situation where he put for me, and he recruited 4 of us from Chicago. It was Tony Cunningham from Providence St. Mel, Phil Gary from Thornton High School, and Crawford Richmond from Evanston. So it was 4 of us. When he recruited all 4 of us, he said, you know, if you stay with me for 4 years, I'll have you in somebody's training camp. And for me, that was enough. And
I bet.
You know, my mindset was I was just a fun-loving college cat until my senior year, probably second semester. And that's when it became, hey, man, look, the window, you know, Cali is cool. We having a good time. Now it's time to buckle down. And I had a great, you know, second half of the season and going into all of the pre-drafts. In fact, the first pre-draft camp that they ever had was my senior year. And I was an alternate for the camp. Dwight Anderson, Lord bless his soul, who I played against at USC, he didn't show up. So me being from Chicago, I had graduated. So I came home for the summer, and so it happened he called. And that evening I had a chance to go to pre-draft camp. And that's one of the things when they talk about the early parts of the pre-draft camp, the pre-draft camp that I had, that's what got me drafted.
Wow. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, you were drafted, speaking of draft, you were drafted by and for you younger people, this team was called the San Diego Clippers.
Absolutely.
All right? So you youngsters know this.
Do their history.
Know your history. So you were drafted, so you played for San Diego Clippers. During your career, the Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns, and the Bulls. And the Chicago Bulls. Talk about what that was like. What was what highlights most outstanding memories that you have from a very illustrious career in the NBA?
You know, once again, you start with draft night. You know, at that point in time, it was 10 rounds to the draft. It was one of the first times that ESPN was doing the draft, and it was only the first 2 rounds. Right. So, you know, first 2 rounds, my family is on pins and needles. I'm outside dribbling my basketball. I done been to
nervous energy.
Man, I done been to pre-draft camp. I did what I know I put my name out there just by what happened at the pre-draft camp. So it was one of those things where my family was in there. You know, you had a lightweight party going on in anticipation of good something happening for you. So the first 2 rounds went by and I wasn't picked. And it was, you could hear almost a pin. You could almost hear a pin hit the balloon and all the air come out of the crib. So they come out of the house, you know, with this kind of look on their face. And I'm still handling my ball with a smile on my face because I'm like, I know texting already told me I'm going to be at somebody's training camp. So if I don't get drafted, I'll be a free agent somewhere. That was my mindset.
Right.
So, you know, probably about 2 or 3 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's my agent telling me that the San Diego Clippers had drafted me the 48th player and the second player in the 3rd round. So at that point in time, you know, the family went crazy, and for me, as soon as they started screaming, I went on my 4-mile run. I took off running. I'm like, okay, training camp is around the corner, and I'm not going to.
I got to get ready.
Right.
I'm telling you. So, you know, it was one of those blessings for me, man. And then to be blessed to have Paul Silas as my head coach as a rookie.
Wow.
Who was endeared to my understanding of the fundamentals of the game, how hard I played, and I played with a certain enthusiasm for team. And so I got. And also I was blessed to come with one of my homeboys, Terry Cummins. So
right.
You know, so it was a certain amount of comfort that I had, you know. So for me, it was a blessing.
Quick question, real quick, before we go to the segment. I know you're an elite shooter. How many threes have you hit in a row at one time?
Well, you know, I've done on memory, man. I was at this place and they were playing pickup, and while they were choosing teams or whatever, I started shooting threes and my son was passing to me. And when I got to about 15 in a row, the people who were sitting around, they started getting interested in what was going on.
Right.
So me, I'm just locked in on what I'm doing. And if I recall right, it was probably about 45 or 50.
50 in a row?
Yeah. But that's that.
Man.
And see, I'm telling you, man, that's not even indicative of what it was when I'm in the gym by myself, man. I'll tell you like this. When I was at Long Beach State, I would go in the gym, and Hotter Than July was the album. Stevie.
Yeah. Stevie. Yes.
Stevie. I would go in the gym, and I wouldn't miss the whole album.
Right. Oh, really?
Whoa.
The whole album?
What?
I wouldn't miss the whole album.
You weren't taking no extended breaks, were you?
No, brother, and that was the thing. And see, the thing is, on the conditioning level, we talking about I'm in the gym by myself, so there's nobody rebounding for me. So my
so you got to go get the ball. Okay.
And it's not, and I'm not standing still. I'm getting it, and I'm pushing it the other direction.
That's beautiful.
Oh man,
beautiful.
listen, we coming back. We're coming back on the other side.
Yeah.
And I want to know on the other side, how much did Craig's political views impact the longevity of his career?
All right, we're gonna get into it. We'll be back for more R&R on Sports right after this.
Hey, I'm Williams Brack, co-host of Grind Set. The insight you gain from us and our guests will motivate you to take the leap into entrepreneurship. So stay with us. What's your grind set? And if you happen to miss some of our episodes, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grind Set on the Kadzukian Network.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. We are talking to NBA great Craig Hodges.
No, man. Let's get back to my story. Listen, when I was playing college ball, I was fourth in the country in 3-point percentage. Now, when I would get to shooting and I would shoot in a row, I end up getting about I was shooting threes. I get to about 11, 12, and then I start thinking about it. Right. So what I wanted to ask,
before it was 10. What happened to that?
Well, 10, 11, 12.
It's
all good, right?
Yeah,
so listen, Craig, how do you address it? How do you get to 50 threes in a row? Because like I said, when I start hitting, I'm start thinking about the next one. Like, okay, now I got to
comparing yourself to one of the greatest shooters in the NBA.
I'm one of the greatest sports announcers in the NBA.
Yeah, so what's that got to do with shooting?
Well, I just thought I'd throw that in. I'm the best at something.
Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, so
I've been leading something, man. Damn.
I think it goes back to when I was younger and I was shooting on the school ground, and that, just trying to do it the same way every single time was something that my uncle taught me. And then when I got in high school, I had a chance to really concentrate on just shooting the basketball and able to work out a science to it in my mind of, what I was looking at. And then when I got to the league, and, one of the things for me is when you go back and if you look at that, it's hard for me to watch when I made 19 in a row at All-Star Weekend.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to watch because I wasn't supposed to miss. And the one that I missed on felt better than all the 19 I had made. So I knew I had like 12 seconds left to finish the racks. And I shot that one, and that was the first one that I didn't stay the entire way on. So when I'm thinking in terms of making shots, it's 3 parts of your shot: foundation, form, follow through. Foundation, form, follow through. Foundation, form, follow through. And if you watch a game tonight and you watch a basketball player catch a ball and shoot it, you'll see that rhythm is in there, whether it be a catch and shoot on a rhythm catch off a 2-foot jump stop, or whether it's a 1-count stride stop where you're walking in off a dribble and pulling up.
Is it just muscle memory? Is it muscle memory?
And I, muscle memory is cool to say, but you still have to be present in that moment. So it's a moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, with always the realization that it's a chance that I may not be sharp enough in my foundation. I can clean it up in my form, but my follow through has to be consistent. So if you look at a Kobe Bryant, you look at how MJ played, that when the game was tough, you would see them hold that follow through until the very end, even to the point where the ball would be almost to the floor, and then they would recoil and go into their defensive mindset or whatever. Same thing with Steph, and I saw I think the big guy from Dallas did it the other night when he shot it near the end of the quarter or something. He shot one from beyond the hash mark, and he held it until he knew that his shot was finished. And I think a lot of times when you're shooting, a lot of people when they're shooting the ball, they're not actually finishing with their shot. They're actually thinking about the result of it. And for me, it was always the result was going to be 99.9% if I'm shooting it in that rhythm and with that mindset.
Now, that's very interesting because the average person would call that posing. The average person would not think about that as being a fundamental part of somebody's shot, but would think that if they're sitting there holding it like that, they're just posing for the cameras.
Yeah, that you're flossing a little bit. You know,
absolutely.
That can, in the way the game is played now, but as a player, you can see at that point where it crosses into flossing, where you saw the serious level of concentration to make this thing actually go in, and then I can do whatever I'm going to do. But, for the most part, when I look at shooters, when I look at Steph, when I look at how Ray Allen shot the ball, when I look at the kid in the Miami Hero,
you see it in Clay? You see it in Clay too?
No question about it, and that's the thing about it. The more you shoot it, and then you have to look at it. It's the difference in the way we played and the way they play now. I shot probably the number of shots that Steph Curry shoot tonight. It took me a week and a half to shoot in the league.
Yeah, that's what I want. Wow. That's what I wanted to ask you. Are you envious of these young guys because they're shooting 15, 20, 30 shots from 3-pointers in the game? You never had that opportunity.
And I feel blessed to play when we play. We played in the golden era of the game. So all of this 3-point shooting is off the work that Larry Bird, myself, and Ray Allen did, as far as bringing it into a consciousness to where now that consciousness become analytics. You feel me? That the analytics part of the game is now 3 counts more than 2s. If they'd have thought about that 30 years ago, who knows where
you still might be playing.
And then I say, not even myself, but Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about somebody that could drop it from deep and consistently. So, for me, it's a blessing to play in the 80s when I played. And I feel like, to some degree, these guys should be envious of not being able to play during that time because of the physicality of nothing else.
Right. So allow me to educate those young among us or who might not remember, but
like Craig, you with dementia, like you with dementia. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you doing stand-up now? Craig Hodges appeared in the first 8 NBA All-Star 3-point contests from 1986 through 1993, and he won the contest 3 times from 1990 through 1992. 90, 91, and 92.
Back to back. 3-peat up in that mug.
There you go. Reached the final round on 2 other occasions. In 86, you lost to a guy named Larry Bird. And in 89, you lost to a guy named Dale Ellis.
Yes.
So do you still hold the 3-point contest record for most consecutive 3-pointers? Does that record still stand?
Yeah, and that one's going to be hard to beat, man. And even to the point where the whole contest has changed.
Right.
Now I think you might have 10 money balls where we had 5 or something like that. So to me, once again, it's acknowledgement when you have to change the contest in order to try to, and it's so funny. We were talking about earlier about the political part of it, even the political part of not wanting to acknowledge the work that I did, even if nothing but that contest, when you talk about no one competed in 8 contests straight, no one did that. I think that's the measure is that in order to do that, you have to have a certain percentage in the first half of the season. So when we talk about a consistent shooter from that distance, I was proven to be that. And likewise, when I think in terms of that, Larry Bird made 11 in a row, and that was like, woo-wee. And the day that I made 19, once again, I tell people, when you take yourself on a training level to a certain place, it is possible that during whatever it is that it needs to be performed on a certain day, you have to train yourself into that mindset. So that night when I hit 19 in a row, brothers, it was like me shooting in the gym until I missed. Once the ball came out of the basket, I realized that it was 20,000 people watching, and I got back. Oh, well, let me get back into actually being in the contest. And I probably missed a couple that I shouldn't have missed, but for me, it was one of those things where, and I tell my sons who are hoopers and my baby boy who's a golfer that the mental part of this thing is the biggest part of this thing, and knowing how to approach it mentally. And that's the beauty of having had the teachers and the mentors and the players that I played with over the years and been able to work with, none better than Kobe, and those conversations that he and I used to have about a winning mindset, about shooting the basketball, I treasure, man, because I can give it to a younger cat who's trying to get there.
Beautiful.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with NBA Chicago Bull great Craig Hodges. Craig, let's switch it up a little bit.
Yes,
You're known for your political views. Mm-hmm. In fact, I remember when you went to the White House after y'all won the championship and you wore a dashiki.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally a fan at that point.
I appreciate it.
Tell me, what was it like and what was the mindset like? And then what was the aftermath of
the blowback
of you going to the White House in a dashiki?
The biggest thing for me was I had worn when Detroit beat us in Detroit, and we all cried like babies.
Yeah.
My mindset, walking out of the locker room, I said to myself laughingly, we need ancestral help. All right. So going into the next season, I wore dashikis. I wore dashikis when we were in warmer climates, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when we got to the playoffs, I wore dashiki every single game until we won 2 in a row. So for me, it was always I don't know who this is next door, but anyway, but it was a blessing for me to know the history of, from Long Beach State being taught that when we go to a royal event, we should wear our regal garments. And for me, I had always been taught to write a letter to our Congress people, write a letter to the mayor. So I did that all through college and everything. So the night before, I thought we were going to go right after we won in June, but we didn't go into October. So in June, I would have just worn a dashiki and wouldn't have written a letter. But we had all summer, and then the night before we got ready to go, which was October 1st is when we went. The night before, I'm playing ping pong with one of my homeboys, and it hits me, man, you got to write something to Bush. And I sat down and I wrote a letter right there, and just letting them know that, when we look at the order of help that's needed in America for the work that we've done and not been paid for, I think that we should be at the top of the order, man. And as far as the work that African Americans have done, and it wasn't only about us, Lord. It was about disenfranchised people. And I'm doing a documentary right now that should hopefully be out in the fall that will, discuss all of that, man.
What was the blowback?
The biggest thing is, we have one of the things now is that in winning championships, we know certain energies that are going on, and the vibrational spirit that's on the planet right now for me is one of a championship. For a lot of other people is despair and adversity. But for me, where I sit right now, we have already won and we're in victory mode. And knowing how that is, the blowback from what I saw and what I felt during 1992-93 as a unrestricted free agent, 10 years of service, no fines, player rep for all 4 teams I had played for. It was never a matter of what type of teammate I was. It was a matter of me having a voice for those who don't have a voice, which is my people and the press people. And a lot of the way that the league was then, when you look at Donald Sterling, who was my original, the owner of the team. So you look at what happened with him and open racism and him being able to get bailed out with a $2 billion parachute for racism lets us know the spectrum of this thing. So for me, knowing that I had John Carlos is one of the mainstays in my documentary, and having a chance to he was a mentor of mine from afar when I was a little boy, and having a chance to actually sit and talk to him and learn the lesson of, in 1991 and 96, when myself and Mahmoud were standing up on our positions, there was no type of movement going on.
Right.
In 1968, it was the height of the movement of civil rights for our people.
Right.
You look at Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was part of the Black Lives Matter movement that was going on during that period of time. So being caught up into a movement has a lot of sway in as far as how you're accepted and how you receive. But in hindsight, it was nothing, when I look at the cultural imperative for me growing up the way I grew up, being under the household that I was under, it wasn't even a thought process when we look at knowing that the ramifications of it was thought about after. For me, I don't think anyone who does any move like that, whether it be John, whether it be Malcolm or Martin, knew that was going to be the day for whatever. So it's one of those things that you have this passion for what it is. You have a opportunity, and like I tell Barack, you wouldn't have got to the White House if I didn't get to wear my dashiki and drop the letter. They nobody, like Steve Kerr when he hit the MJ after the jumper after MJ hit him. Hey, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. That was the play that I was doing. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I love it. Had always been a fan of your consciousness and whatnot, and a bigger one now. Thank you for being here with us. We're going to have you back.
Yeah, we got to bring you back
because we want to talk about current affairs. We want to talk about some stuff now. So
absolutely.
You promised to come back.
Hey, brother, y'all got my info, man. And once again, I want to definitely come back when and do some of the stuff with the documentary with you brothers.
Absolutely. Get the door.
Amen.
Thanks for being with us here on R&R on Sports. We'll be back. We'll be back right after this.
Riffin' on Jazz.
So all the artists today must be ladies.
Must be.
Oh, my favorite.
You got a problem?
No, that's my favorite.
See, I knew.
Riffin' on Jazz on the Kazookian Network.
Kazookian!
Welcome back.
How do I say goodbye?
Lord have mercy.
To what we had. The memories. Oh, baby, don't wait, don't, yo. I know you're hating it.
Just went to Q Shop. Just changed keys to Q Dadgum Shop. I wish you had taken some music in your life and time. Oh, my goodness. So, I got a question I got to ask you.
Okay, what you got?
Let me ask you this question. If you were Tiger Woods,
okay,
or Serena Williams, how would you approach the decision, the obvious decision that you need to make about whether or not you're going to continue in the sport that you have changed the face of
forever? In my opinion, I think they shouldn't. I think they should just keep playing. Keep playing until you don't feel like playing no more. I mean,
well, they don't feel like playing anymore when Serena gets bounced in the first round.
Well,
man.
Serena been out for a long time.
I know this.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, she's gotten bounced in the first round before.
Tiger got hurt again, and so I mean, how would you deal with that if it was you? You just keep playing, keep playing
as long as you can play. Because once it's over, it's over. Literally, and the body's gonna tell you when it's over.
You can do the Gronk. You can come back if you want to.
No, Gronk's done too.
Yeah. Now he is.
Yeah, I mean, as with all of us, Father Time is undefeated.
Oh, this is true.
Father Time, so they gonna know. They will know when it's time to not even entertain the conversation.
Their version of that song you just tried to sing.
Exactly.
Okay.
How do
don't start back, man.
Say goodbye. Go ahead.
I'm done. I'm through. You go ahead. You got 10 seconds.
Listen, this is R&R on Sports. I am the great Larry Robinson.
I'm Howard Robertson.
Speaking for my man Howard Robertson.
You don't speak for
I was going to speak for you because you don't do a good job speaking for yourself.
Speak for me.
Well, listen, we're going to be back next week. If you missed any of this, download the Kazookian app. Check us out on Google or Apple. Either one. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you consume your great podcast.
Worse than ever.
We're there.
All right, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Don't you be away anywhere else. Check us out. You know you like the show. Y'all tell us that all the time, so stay with us.
Peace.
You've been listening to a little R&R on sports, written and produced by Howard Robertson, Larry Robinson, recorded and mixed in Memphis, Tennessee.